All right. What's good, y'all? Soul here, and welcome back to my story mode. So, you've seen the title and you've seen the thumbnail. It's very obvious that today we're going to be talking just a little bit about Dragon Ball today, right? And I've been kind of in this weird space with Dragon Ball for the last, month or so, because obviously, rest in peace, big man upstairs. I love Dragon Ball with all my heart and soul. Dragon Ball is a very, very important part of my life. It's inspired me in so many different ways, in so many different forms and everything like that. It's inspired me to write, it inspired me to draw, it inspired a lot of my gaming, a lot of my interests and stuff like that. Hell, a lot of the games and stuff that I enjoy would not be a thing without Dragon Ball's existence. And so, I decided a couple weeks or so after, the big news happened. We've talked about it enough at this point, I think. But a couple weeks after that, I decided, you know what? I kind of want to re-experience Dragon Ball, but, watching it, I could do that, but I feel like it would just be a lot faster if I relive it through Dragon Ball Kakarot. And, we're all here because we know what Dragon Ball Kakarot is, right? It's the game that embodies the entire story of Dragon Ball Z, right? And, people have their gripes with it. You can say what you want about Dragon Ball Kakarot. It's not necessarily a bad developed game by any means. I think it's polished. I think it has a lot of heart. I think it has a lot of care put into it. There are some aspects that are weaker than others, of course, but I think that when it comes to capturing the essence of Dragon Ball best they could, I think that CyberConnect did a pretty damn good job. I love Kakarot. I truly do. Even despite what I might say in this video, despite what the title says, despite everything, I do love Dragon Ball Kakarot. Please do not get that twisted. So now that we have that out of the way, Dragon Ball Kakarot is not as good as I remembered, right? For the last couple of weeks, whenever I was just kind of doing nothing, whenever I was just kind of talking to friends or whatever, I needed something in the background to play, whatever, while I was talking or watching something, or maybe just, working on something, maybe I just needed something to give myself a little bit of a brain break, I would turn to Dragon Ball Kakarot sometimes. A little less recently than, a couple weeks ago, but I would turn to Dragon Ball Kakarot. I decided, hey, all the DLCs are finally out and stuff like that. There's probably more DLCs on the way. Why don't I go ahead and play catch up a little bit? Because it's been a little while since I've played Kakarot. I did beat it about twice beforehand. I beat it when it initially came out at the very beginning of its year. And then I played it again a year later or something like that, and just never really came back to it for a while. And so, this was my first time playing it again in a while. And, because it's my third playthrough, the novelty has more than worn off in a couple of aspects, right? Even playing the DLC, I, got far enough to where I recognized, I'm like, wow, this is not what I remembered it to be. You know what I'm saying? And that happens sometimes, But here's the thing, right? Even with some of my favorite games, with Kingdom Hearts 2 and stuff like that, the novelty has worn off, but I still, I still play through them fully and will never have a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? With Dragon Ball Kakarot, it started to get really hard to find a reason to continue other than the DLC to continue playing again. You know what I'm saying? Because here's the thing. Anybody who's grown up on Dragon Ball could tell you beat for beat every single major story plot without missing a beat, and they don't even have to think about it, right? And it's not even a thing of I've deeply in-depth studied the series and stuff like that. No. It's because Dragon Ball, video games in particular, have told us the story of Z so many times now, it's impossible to forget any major story points. We have seen the story time and time and time and time and time and time and time again, right? And here's the thing. The only game to really step out of that cycle, even just a little bit, was absolutely Xenoverse 2. Giving us custom characters and giving us a story that allows us to be involved with the story, but actually allows it to change up a little bit while we're involved too, changes the game exponentially. Exponentially. Because we get to see these amazing, things within Dragon Ball history happen, but now we're genuinely involved, and that changes it so much. Xenoverse is a great game, right? And this is not me saying that Kakarot is a bad game by any means, but with a game focused solely on the story in an RPG aspect, it's not like it hasn't been done before. As a matter of fact, Legacy of Goku 2, and Boo's Fury are the original Dragon Ball Kakarot in a sense, because they're RPGs. They're for a Game Boy, for the Game Boy era, it's pretty much free roam. You know what I'm saying? It's as open world as you could get. You know what I'm saying, on a Game Boy, and it does the exact same thing that Kakarot does. You fight, you level up, you get new powers, abilities, you get access to different characters that all have different levels to them that you can play at different times, take control of at certain points during the story and stuff like that. It's the exact same thing. Difference is, Kakarot is in another league in terms of scale, in terms of, world with voice acting and actual HD graphics and actual, 3D, well-rendered character models and stuff like that. It's cool and all, I appreciate all the effort that has gone into Dragon Ball Kakarot, and I still consider it a comfort game by any means, absolutely. It's still a very easy game to just sit down with, and when you're feeling a little bit Dragon Ball-y, hey, cool, this is fun. But then you start getting into the game a little bit, right? You start fighting, and then you suddenly realize that the combat isn't really as, it's as depthful as you would like it to be. And then you experience the story again and again and again, and you're like, okay, well, they're skipping a couple major story beats now, all of a sudden. The entire moment where Trunks, decided to fight Cell on his own for a moment, because, Krillin and Vegeta, they were messing up, and so Trunks had to take on Cell on his own for a minute, and he completely unveiled a new super form. And that was like a whole thing, right? Yeah, the form was strong. Cell even admitted that the form was strong, but it was too slow to even ever catch up with Cell, because that balance matters, and Trunks had to learn that the hard way, right? Completely cut. A pivotal moment for Trunks in the series was completely cut. No idea why. But I guess, I imagine it's because they just saw no point in giving us a super form for Trunks that wasn't even going to be usable, so they decided not to show it at all. But it's the fact that the cutscene never even acknowledged stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And so it's another thing you start to notice. It's like, okay, well, it completely skipped over a major story beat there, but all right, that's weird. And then you really start to feel the repetitiveness. It's pretty much essentially a loop of, do this meaningless side quest that probably nets you almost nothing in terms of experience. Do this little, thing that might net you a little bit of, stat boosts and stuff like that. Do this fetch quest, do that fetch quest. And it's like, oh, wow. What's happening here? You know what I'm saying? And again, I feel like this is absolutely primarily because I've played the game multiple times, because again, like I said, I still do love the game, and it never hides what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's a grind fest. It's a big Dragon Ball grind fest. And I still appreciate what it is. You get access to all these different characters. They all have unique animations and fighting styles, and you can definitely feel that when you go into battle with each and every one of them. Goku has his own style. Gohan has his own style. Piccolo, Vegeta, Trunks. Who else can you play as? I don't even remember right now. But, I appreciate that they gave them a sense of uniqueness and stuff like that. And that's absolutely not going to go ignored. CyberConnect, when it comes to their games, they really put in everything they can. And they've proven that to us since Storm. Forever ago. They've been proving that for a very long time, that they care about these games. Kakarot, it feels like they care, but not enough. Does that make sense? Or at the very least, it felt like they didn't care to have more of a sense of direction with certain aspects. You know what I'm saying? yeah, it's cool to fly around every now and again, but after a while of flying, you're like, wow, maybe they should have added a couple of ways to, teleport from here to there, instantly, when you're on the map and stuff like that. Of course, you can teleport from one major area on the world map to another major area on the world map, switching worlds or whatever, but, when there's a major story beat all the way on the other side of the map that I'm currently on, why can't I teleport there? Now I gotta genuinely fly and run out of keys sometimes because the game says so. Yeah, it can be a little rough sometimes. To this day, I would still argue that Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is still a top 15 Dragon Ball game for me, right? It absolutely is. It still has some fun cutscenes. It has voice acting with care in every way, shape, and form. It tries to stay very honest to the manga, to the anime the best it can. The soundtrack is very fun. I never get sick of that soundtrack, you know what I'm saying? The little small stupid fetch quests, absolutely optional, you know what I'm saying? It's not like they make that much of a difference if you do or don't do them. It's not like you can get different endings or anything like that. They're just for fun. Like, hey, here's a character you might remember, see what they're up to, you know what I'm saying? And that's totally fine because it's a side quest. It's completely optional. It's your choice if you want to interact with the world. And I've consciously made that choice to do so 3 times now. So yeah, of course the novelty is going to wear off. You can absolutely validly criticize me and say, this is all my fault, right? That, you've played the game multiple times. Of course that's going to happen, right? But this is rare to feel this way about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've played Kingdom Hearts 2 multiple times. I didn't feel like this. You know what I'm saying? I've played Breath of the Wild like 4 times. Never felt like this. You know what I'm saying? But Kakarot, yeah, it gets a little rough sometimes. However, I will say, I really do appreciate the DLCs because that's when things start to really change up a little bit, right? With the original Budokai DLC, where you play as Kid Goku, and then you play as like Teen Goku, right before, Piccolo, or, Kid, like the younger version of Piccolo, evil Piccolo was trying to take over and everything like that. That was a lot of fun. You could tell they were having a lot of fun with that one, and I really appreciate that they did that, right? But, there's a lot of stuff missing from the main game that I really wish could have been implemented like they did in the DLCs. But, it is what it is. I guess it's just one of those situations where it's like, hey, better late than never. The game knows what it is, and it's just a fun, like, little easy way to get back into Dragon Ball if you don't feel like sitting down, hunting down the anime and stuff like that. I think it does a good job for what it is. It knows what it is, and it never tries to hide that. And, I got a little burnt out on it and stuff like that. And, it sucks that happens sometimes, but you know what? I still love Dragon Ball Kakarot. Yeah, it's not as good as I remember it to be, but it's not a bad game. You could fight me on it all you want. I don't think that it's a bad game by any means. I think it's missing some things here and there. I think it could definitely use some work if there was ever some kind of a sequel or something like that. I feel like if they are going to continue DLCs, there's definitely a easy way to make a lot of people happy, but I'm going to leave CyberConnect to it and let them do their thing. But, we'll have to see what happens with that. So, that just about does it for this. I just wanted to do a quick little ramble for Dragon Ball Z Kakarot because I've been playing it for a while and I thought, hey, I may as well talk about it, because why not? You know what I'm saying? Because I never really got the chance to talk much about Dragon Ball like I should have, back in the day and stuff like that. And I really do wish I could have done like a Let's Play or live stream series or something for Dragon Ball Kakarot when it came out, because I want to remember what I first felt like when I played through, because it was very hard for me to remember. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I'm playing it again now. I'm probably gonna finish it one more time, maybe hit up the DLCs and stuff. Maybe I'll play it again in a couple of years or something like that. We'll see what happens. But I've rambled on enough, so I'm gonna put the mic in your face and go ahead and have you tell me what your thoughts are on Dragon Ball Kakarot. Do you love the game? Do you like the way that it turned out? Are you happy with, the base game and the DLCs and the updates and stuff like that? Or are you on the polar opposite spectrum in which you absolutely despise everything that Dragon Ball Kakarot is? You don't like the way it came out. You think CyberConnect could have done absolutely better. Tell me everything that you guys are thinking in the comment section below, because you know for a fact that I'm always, always, always going to be down there with you guys. And with that, I think it is time for me to skedaddle. So I'd like to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the greatest favor of dropping a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content just like this here. And with that, yep, gonzo. Thanks again. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor, taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time.